Welcome to the Becoming Unique podcast, season 11. Hey, y'all. So those of you guys that are watching this podcast visually, you will see that I have a new background. I have recorded this whole season in my kitchen because I am cooking up some amazing conversations. So if you want to watch this podcast season visually, you can watch it via YouTube or you can watch it on Spotify. Yep, that's right. Spotify has a video option to watch podcasts. So let me get into this season before we get started with today's episode. In the past, for my old Becoming Unique podcast listeners, you would have noticed that in the past, I used to have themes for my seasons. Like, one season may have been called healing and one season may have been called masculine energy. But I haven't done that in quite a few seasons, but I'm going to come back to naming my seasons again. And the way I name my seasons, I feel the energy of what's happening within that season. I stated this many times in the past. I don't plan out my podcast. I don't say this season is going to be all about health and nutrition. So I am, looking for episodes around health and nutrition. I honestly keep my heart and my energy open to see what comes to me. And then once everything comes to me, then I'm like, okay, what was this season telling me? I allow the season to dictate what it's going to be. And this season is very, very interesting. I feel like this is the most interesting season of them all. But so far from what I have recorded in this season, I am going to call this season evolution. That's right. First of all, I don't know about you guys, but with me, I feel, collectively, things are changing. There is an evolution happening within all of us, within the collective, and it's time for all of us to continue to evolve. And the conversations that are going to be had in this season are some really evolutionary conversations, in my opinion. Some conversations that are not necessarily on the normal spectrum of conversations in which you may hear about. You may be used to hearing conversations about, how many calories should I eat and how much water should I drink and how much exercise should I do, or how much should I journal? How do I journal and all that type of stuff. And I really feel we've done an excellent job on this podcast with touching all spectrums of wellness, all spectrums of wellness we've been hitting for the past 10 seasons. But this season is coming in a little bit different. And I didn't, like I said, I keep myself open. I see what comes to me, and literally these episodes came to me. And also I feel I have a lot of male guests this season, and I didn't seek out any male guests. They came to me. So within this season, there's a lot of masculine energy, and masculine energy, means, acceleration, like, action and going. And I feel like that, with evolution, there needs to be action, there needs to be acceleration. And I feel that's the energy that's starting to propel forward. And yeah, and I swear every week of this season is going to be completely different from the previous season. Whereas it may be, let's say, season 9, season 9, when I was talking about my book, that season, you kind of you knew what was going to happen the next week. We were talking about self-care and self-love, and it was the same voice, same energy happening every week. But with this season, it's like 1 week is completely different from the next week. It's like basketball, like we're playing sports. So 1 week we're watching basketball, the next week we're watching baseball, the next week we're watching soccer, the next week we're watching swimming, then we're watching gymnastics. It's kind of all over the place, but it's all over the place for the benefit of all of us, because, this podcast is all about all of us evolving. But today's episode, it's definitely is going to be way different than the next episodes coming forward. And this episode, I seek this episode out, or you can say it came to me. The beautiful guest I have on this week, I heard her talking on Instagram, and I was like, you know what? I reached out to her and said, hey, can you come onto my podcast? Where opposed to all the other episodes of this season, they reached out to me. So it's a little bit different in that way, but I felt like I really wanted today's episode to be the foundation to start this season off. To start this season off, not just for the Becoming Unique podcast, but we're on the top of 2024. And within this, on the top of 2024, this is an amazing conversation to have. And today's conversation is all about coming back to yourself. I feel it's a very grounding and very rooting episode for some people that don't understand the concept of coming back to yourself. This could be an evolutionary episode. It all depends on where you are in your life, but I am so grateful to present this episode to you guys about coming back to yourself, getting rooted, getting grounded, understanding what that even means. And I'm telling you guys, tune in every week to the Becoming Unique podcast, because this is a good season. This is an evolutionary season, and the voices are all different. Some may be very, very interesting, and a lot of information that may, you'll see, but just make sure you tune in. But let's get into today's episode. Let's go. Today on the Becoming Unique podcast, I have such a beautiful and amazing soul by the name of Mimi. Welcome. Hey. Welcome to the Becoming Unique podcast. I'm so grateful that you are here with us today. So before we even get the show started, I would love for you to tell everyone, who is Mimi?
Okay, so first, Unique, thank you so much for having me. I'm so super excited to be here just to sit and chat. But yeah, I'm Mimi, well, Camelia rather, aka Mimi Felton. And who am I? I'm just a human being that's just trying to, show up as my true self, be a light, be someone that, inspires, that uplifts, and that, just lives her best life. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, a teacher. I consider myself a mentor, a yogipreneur, just all about, self-care, self-love, and empowerment. I think we all have all of those traits within us. And I'm just that girl that if you hang around me, I'm gonna pull it out of you.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I'm gonna pull it out of you.
I love it. I feel like we're so aligned.
Yeah.
So aligned. We're like big advocates on that self-love, self-care, and just really understanding, the importance of that in life. But before we get today's show started, I would like to first start off with gratitude. And I would love for you to share, what are you grateful for today?
Oh, wow. I'm just always grateful if I wake up, right? I wake
Mhm.
up and I take a deep breath and I just say, I have another day. I have another day to, just show up and be a light and give thanks for all that I have. And just try to be someone that can just help somebody, because someone didn't wake up today. There's
Mm,
somebody that's not feeling well. There's someone that, wish they had a fraction of the things that we have. And
mm.
so it's just very important for me, to stay humble and to understand that and then be of help and be of service to others. So I'm just thankful. I'm just thankful to be alive and I'm just thankful to have another day, always, always grateful for that.
Oh, I love it, love it. And I love that you said to stay humble and to be of help and service to others. That's so beautiful. And that's so beautiful that you inputted that within that. So thank you for sharing that with us today.
Absolutely.
So I invited you on the show because I saw one of your Instagram lives, and you were talking about, it's the end of the year, and things that you had planned going towards the new year, like your goals of like 49 things I think it was 49 things to do before
Yeah.
your birthday, or within the year for your birthday, because I guess you're going to be
Yeah.
49 this year. And one of the things that really struck home to me is when you said that this time of year I need to come back to myself. I absolutely love that you brought mindfulness and brought the conversation around coming back to myself. And I would just like to have a conversation around coming back to coming back to yourself, coming back to myself, because it's the top of the year. And, this is a great time to do that. So, what does coming back to myself mean for you?
For me, it's just simply just having some time to reflect, right? The year, it's been a beautiful year. And that's another thing that I'm grateful for because there are some years where they were not that great, you know? There were some years where it was like every time I turned around, something was knocking me down. But at the end of the day, I always got back up and I kept going. And so I have made it a part of kind of like my end of the year kind of tradition or just not resolution because I don't really do resolutions, but just kind of sitting down and just kind of wrote like just going through the year, and seeing things that I've learned, seeing things that, I could have done differently or done better or whatever the case may be. So it just always kind of brings me back to Camelia, right? And it kind of gives me that kickstart to go into the next year. Because if you don't just kind of stop and kind of sit with yourself, you can get lost in the madness, you can get lost in just trying to be all of these things to other people, right?
Mhm.
And I firmly believe you can't pour from an empty cup.
Mm,
So I always sit with myself and say, okay, what do I need? What do I need to, have more of in my life, less of in my life? What
mhm,
do I need to focus more on? What do I need to give less attention to, so this time of the year I may kind of take like a little break from social media. Social media is a really 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 good thing. But
yeah.
it can also be one of those things that can kind of like get in the way, if you will. And
Mhm,
so I kind of like have to take little breaks from that. I kind of have to take breaks from kind of like being of service to everybody else and pouring back into myself, And
mhm,
what does that look like for me? It's just kind of sitting and, maybe catching up on a show that I had, because I'm not a big TV person, but maybe catching up on like a series that I haven't been able to watch, or just sitting and like reading a book or doing nothing, doing
mhm.
absolutely nothing. And I just find that just really keeps me in a good space mentally. And I had to learn that the hard way because I would go, 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 go.
Mhm.
And then I would just burn out. And
Yeah.
then I would be no good to anybody else and definitely not to myself. And then I would have to kind of like climb out of this dark space, I and I can feel it. I can feel it when I start to get exhausted or get burned out. I pay attention now and I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
break. It's time to break.
Uh-huh.
It's time to break. And um you teach people, that you need that space because people now are like, okay, Mimi needs a break,
Yeah.
my kids, my husband, even my little grandson. I'm like, grandma needs a break. Okay. He's like, okay, grandma. All right, I'm gonna go downstairs, I'm gonna color, I'm gonna do whatever. And so it's very empowering for me. So and I like to teach that to others.
Beautiful. You said so much, and I took from it that you are mindful of what you need for yourself. And mindfulness is just so important. And there's a quote, I can't think of exactly how it goes, but I'm sure you probably know it, the gist of it. It's where know who you are, because if you don't, you're gonna allow others to tell you who you are.
Oh, yes.
And that's not how the quote goes, but it's to
That's
the
the
gist
gist of it. Yes.
of
You are
it.
so right. You are
Yeah.
so right.
Yeah, so I think it's just so important that we allow ourselves to understand who we truly are, because what may work for me may not work for Unique, but that's what it's all about, coming back to ourselves. And that's why quiet times, I think it's so underrated. It's so important. It's like everyone,
Rest.
you go out there, rest,
It's
even
so
though
underrated.
it's so underrated, but that those moments of stillness and quietness, it just allows you to just get grounded and get balanced within yourself. And I don't know if you saw Beyonce's Renaissance Did you get to see it? Or
I haven't. I didn't do her concert. She came to Atlanta. I didn't get to
Mhm,
do it. And but I said I do want to watch it. I do because I've been
mhm.
hearing a lot of like good things about it, and you kind of get like an inside view of kind of who she is. You know, that's she's a great example. Like she's always just, in the limelight and she's doing all of these things, but we forget that she's a mom, she's a wife, she's a human,
Yeah.
right? And
Hmm.
so just coming back to herself, and I think she's learned that as she's gotten older too.
Yeah, she mentioned it a couple of times throughout the Renaissance movie that she had. And I think it was, I only saw it one time, so I don't remember exact placements of things, but I think it was towards the beginning. She was like, I'm happy that I'm able to come back to myself, because she said, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, like I'm all these other things. And then I'm also Sasha Fierce.
Right,
So
right,
Sasha Fierce is the one that's on stage, but she is all these other, in reality, she's all these other people. And then at towards the end of the movie, or middle to end, she thanked her mother for allowing her to always come back to herself. She said, I thank you. So she gave gratitude to her mother, saying, letting her know, like, thank you for always making sure I came back to myself. Because in celebrities, we see a lot of times, that ego gets going. And that's the other thing with coming back to yourself, understanding, recognizing the ego, and like, where's this coming from? On the way we're reacting in life. It's like, are we on that high horse too much? Is it time to bring it down? Come back to come back to yourself before life humbles you. And a lot of times we can see that in celebrities. It's like, do they know how to come back to who they truly are at the soul purpose, soul place, and I think Beyonce has had a beautiful, from the outside looking in, I don't know her personally, but from looking in, that she's had such a beautiful foundation between her mother and her father throughout her whole career, allowing her to always come back to herself and not have all these people on the outside saying, come in, come in, come in to my world. And she was able to stay in her own world. So I'm just absolutely loving that we're having this conversation, because maybe 6-7 years ago, I may not even understood this conversation about
right,
coming back to myself.
right,
So that's why I think it's so important, because I, like you said, you get burnt out. I was like always thinking I need to constantly give, do for everyone else, and not realizing, wait a minute, where's unique? Where's unique?
right.
And and at the end of the day, we the only person that's gonna be with ourselves to the end of the day. Who
That
is
part,
the only one, no matter who's in our lives, we're the only one that's going to be with us till the day we die.
that
At every
part.
single moment.
That part. And what I've learned too, and coming back to yourself, a lot of times we go, 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 because if we're still, what does it do? We really have to look at ourselves,
The
right?
shadow.
And what I have found with even working with people and just the work that I do on a daily basis, a lot of us don't like ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us don't love ourselves. And so I'm not going to be still. I'm not going to, do self reflection. I'm not going to be honest and open with myself, because that's going to reveal a lot of things that I don't like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where the magic happens, though, when we sit with ourselves and say, you know what? I don't really like that about me. What can I do to make that better? Or, how can I show up better? How can I communicate better? How can I advocate for myself and ask for what I need and what I want? And the only way you can do that is in stillness.
Exactly.
When you look in the mirror, it's going to show you exactly who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to
Exactly.
show you exactly who you are. And it's not always pretty.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
that's keep telling you people that's where the magic happens.
It is. I love that you said that, a lot of times people don't want to be still with themselves, because they have to face themselves, and face themselves on so many different levels, or face the challenges or whatever they're working through, and they just want to ignore it
Yeah,
all, just be busy. I don't get time for this. I'm too busy. I'm too busy.
yeah,
Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up. That the shadow work is just also just so very important in us facing that shadow side. And there's a quote in yoga, and this one I hope I get it. I'll get the rest of it. It's the pose. It's the pose that we avoid is the pose that we need most.
Yes.
And we can use that with many parts of our lives. The things that we are avoiding is what we need
What
most.
we need the
So
most.
we can make it the simplest thing. We may be avoiding eating well or going to the gym, but we need it.
But we need it.
But we
Yes.
need it. We need it. So,
Yes.
so if you're not a yogi, just flip it to like, what are you avoiding in your life? Because honestly, that's
That's what
probably
you need more
that's what
of.
you need. So
Yeah. And sometimes what keeps showing up in your life, right?
yeah,
Like if you need more patience, you best believe you're going to
you'll
have
be
a lot of
tested.
things that should, yes, you are going to be tested like you would not. Why does this keep happening to me? Because it's something that you need to face and that you need
Mhm.
to deal with, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like even dealing with people, I'm like, yeah, why is this person in my life? Why are they showing up? Because it's something I need to deal with, you know? And I pay attention to everything, always have. I don't know if that's the Pisces in me or just the intuition that I kind of have, but I pay attention to everything. I'm listening, I'm observing, and people just think, oh, she's just no, I'm watching your body language. I'm watching not only what you say, but what you do. Like I'm very, very in tune to the things around me.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I just had something to say. It was on the tip of my tongue. Oh no, I got it. Okay, I have me and my quotes. But this one I got right because this is one of my favorite quotes. Is life is not happening to you; it's happening for you. Because you were talking about why does this keep coming up in my life?
Mhm.
So we may want to think like life is so against us sometimes. Oh, I can't. I don't got time to do this. I don't got time to be grounded. This keeps happening to me, but we have to realize life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. And if it shows up, what do we need to do? Like if it's a battle you need to fight through, like patience.
Yeah.
What do you need to do within this? So it's like having that conversation. This is, all a part of like getting to that grounded place, getting to that place of being able to say, oh, I'm going to wrap my year up by, coming back to myself. Because, I think some people may be in the state where it's just so much confusion and chaos. And it's like, how do we even think about that right now? I don't even want to look at this past year. It was so horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you said, not every year was like this. Some years it was like, wow, like things just kept coming and coming and coming. And then it's like, when they do keep coming, it's like, how do we question what role did we play in this? What can we do to correct it for the next time around? If this your situation does arise, it's all learning experiences.
Yes, it is. And it's so funny. Like I can go back to a year and be like, oh, that's why that was happening because it was getting me ready for this. Or,
Exactly.
oh, that's, oh, okay. All right. I get it. Okay. I see what the universe, okay.
Yes,
I got
yes,
it.
yes.
Like you said, life is happening,
Like it's not happening to you, it's
for
happening for you.
you. Yeah. So
Mhm,
everything, even what we think is for our bad, a lot of times is really working for our good.
mhm.
All the things that I'm doing today, it's because of things that happened, years ago. And I was like, why are these things happening to me? But those were the
Exactly.
things that allowed me to show up in spaces and truly understand why people are going through what they're going through. Because I'm like, I know, sweetheart, I've been there. I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to have no money. I know what it feels like to be depressed and not know which way to turn. I know what it feels like, to 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 don't know what to do. What are the next steps? I know, and this is what helped me. Maybe it can help you, you know?
Yes, 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 yes. Life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. Yes, and I
Yes.
I agree. Ditto, ditto, ditto. I look back and I'm like, you know,
Okay.
yes. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with coming back to yourself, I feel that being grounded is just so important. Getting to that root chakra, just starting there at the base. And so, what is your definition of being grounded, or and what does that look like for you?
So being grounded for me is just taking those moments, I can't stress this enough. Taking those moments, even when, I feel a certain way or something that's just kind of like, in my mental space or just kind of keeps showing up. I'm like, okay, 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 what are we doing? what's the lesson? What do I
Yeah.
need to learn here? What do I need to do in this situation? It even comes up with like dealing with certain people in my life, um, because I'm the kind of person, I give you every opportunity. Like, you have a clean slate with me. I don't go by other people's opinions. I form my own opinion. I don't go by, I don't know. I just give you an opportunity to really show me who you are, and when you do, I'm like, oh, okay, uh-uh.
Yeah.
Right? So I kind of do that with everything in my life. And that is what allows me to stay grounded, I think. Even like just a couple of days ago, I was just kind of like in this funk, and I couldn't put my finger on it. Even my husband was like, "What's wrong? Like, you're not your usually happy, bubbly self." Like, and I'm like, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, and I was resting and I was like doing all the things, but I think for me, it was just kind of like, there were some situations or people in my life that I really wanted, things to be a little bit better for them by now. Or you see people kind of doing the same things over and over again, and you just get exhausted and you're just
Yeah.
like, okay. And so you have to kind of make these decisions like, am I going to be able to keep this person in my life, or do I need to have like this hard conversation? And that makes me like sad, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm an I'm an empath. So
Impact.
I can
Yeah.
feel the pain of other people, and it kind of weighs on me sometimes.
Hmm.
And so I have to say, but it's not for me to carry,
Yeah.
Um, I feel it. I trust, that whatever's gonna be, it's gonna be, and I have to just kind of let it go. And that's a struggle for me sometimes, letting things go, or letting people go or circumstances go, even like with my own children, or, just people that are close to me.
Hmm.
And then when I kind of have to climb out of it, it's
Yeah.
no time frame, it's no poof, it just happens. It's
Hmm.
just one of those things that I kind of have to work through,
Yeah.
but once I do, I always come out better, and so that helps me to stay grounded as well too. And even with myself, sometimes I can feel like, well, okay, I shouldn't be happy right now because there's so much going on in the world, there's so much darkness. I shouldn't be happy, but that's what I used to do. I used to go
Yeah.
to that space of like, I shouldn't be happy, or I shouldn't be, sharing all of these things. And I'm like, wait, the world needs light,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
If I do what the world is doing, then I'm no different,
Mm.
So we have to be that little spark of light in darkness,
Mhm.
and it feels weird sometimes. It feels uncomfortable, but I'm like, that's what I've been called to do. Be the light in dark
Yeah.
places. Show up for people and show them that there's possibilities. You're not your circumstances. You're bigger than this, but you're going to have to do the work. It's just not going to happen. You can't sit here and expect miracles to happen or
Hmm.
expect life to get better. You got to get your you know what up
Yep.
and do what you got to do, and I understand that that's my purpose, so
Mhm.
even when I'm like, oh, here I go again,
Yeah.
but that's what I've been called to do. And when I truly walk in that, that's when I feel the happiest. That's when I feel like Camelia,
Yeah.
but when I try to like run from it or, kind of, you know,
Mhm.
I don't feel that great. So I'm learning that. And that keeps me grounded too. Girl, be yourself.
Yeah. Exactly.
Show up as Camelia. Like, the world will be okay. They will adjust,
Exactly.
and that keeps me grounded, and it keeps me centered, and it keeps me focused. I'm not doing all, I'm not listening to this, I'm not listening to this, I'm not listening to this. I'm just
Hmm.
going ahead, and then I'd be like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. I thank you so much for bringing up your piece about being an empath, because I think many of us are empaths, and especially also as a parent or mom and stuff like you know so in understanding that, you recognize that you're sometimes carrying other people's energy or other people's like situations on you, and it could be weighing you down, and even it's noticeable from your husband, like, oh, wait a minute, you're not your true self right now, what's going on? And you had to recognize that you may have been carrying other people's energy. And and it is definitely not a unique situation. A lot of us are walking around carrying other people's energy. And then now it comes back to that mindfulness. Is this mine? Having that question with yourself. I had this beautiful podcast with someone that spoke very in-depthly about empaths and understanding that, you need to recognize, is this mine? And then if it's not yours, you need to release it. And she had a saying, not my circus, not my monkey. Like,
It's not.
you got to leave that alone. And because it's gonna take away from you. It's gonna be holding you down, and then you be holding on to that energy is not going to be lifting anybody up. You're going to have to be yourself so you can inspire. And like you said, you have to be the light. You're the light. You're inspiring and sharing the light in this place of darkness, and to recognize, that's your role. And all of us to recognize, what role are we playing here, in this thing called life. And, and if we're in that dark space, like you said, get up and get going. But, another one of my favorite quotes, this is all about my favorite quotes. Well, this was more of a story. It's like, you ask God for cake, but when he gives you, the eggs, the flour, the oven, the
Oh,
stove,
the same.
the pots, the pans, and you still looking for the cake, and he gave you all of the
Honey, I gave you everything.
everything. And all of us, we're sitting around with all of these tools within us.
Waiting.
We just got to put it to work. We got to put it to work. And what? Guess what? We may have the ingredients, and maybe the first time the cake don't come out the way we expect it to come out. But guess what? When we keep going in the kitchen and keep mixing up, we gonna work.
Perfected.
We're gonna work through it and to make it to the best of our ability. But then that's what we need. And that's what life. No one's walking out here being, this top of their game. Everyone had to work at their skill, their craft, or whatever they're doing in life. Yes, some of us may be more skilled in certain areas, or more towards certain areas, but no matter what, you may have a skill. Let's say if someone's playing the piano, they're just gifted. They still had to work on their craft.
Yeah.
No one's just like waking up, I'm gonna wake up at 12 o'clock today and just, no.
Right. And people don't understand that. I think that's where people get misconstrued. It's like and another thing I've learned to do is romanticize my life. I take everything as like a beautiful moment. I go to Starbucks and I'm like, I'm gonna enjoy that $6 cup of coffee like I'm in Paris somewhere. But it's like I've made it like that way, right? I don't expect anybody else to do it. I have created like a life where I'm truly like happy, and
Yeah.
that you have to do that for yourself. People get depressed on this device
Yeah.
because they're looking at somebody else's life and not living theirs. Everybody's life is different. Everybody's life
Exactly.
is different. Everybody has like a reason why they do things, or what makes them happy, or what makes them feel like alive, and you have to figure out what your thing is. It's not everybody's is not the same. And when we learn that, I think it just makes life so much better. I celebrate everything. Anybody that
Mhm.
knows me, I think when you said you heard on the post, like I'm looking forward to turning 49, and people have said to me, that's not a what is 49? Like, don't you wait till you turn 50. Why on earth would we do
Yeah.
that?
Why can't we celebrate in
Why can't we
any
celebrate?
moment?
Right, any day. It's like every birthday should be special. You're alive. Who's to say
Mhm.
I'm gonna even be here at 50?
Mhm.
Or who's to say I'm gonna even be in the mindset, or life
Yeah.
can happen,
Yep.
somebody around me could be in a space where I can't, because I thought I was gonna do this big thing at 40. Yeah, I had a whole grandbaby come at 40. I wasn't expecting him,
Mhm.
but he was one of the greatest gifts I could have ever received.
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, I firmly believe in like celebrate everything, and I think that just makes life a little bit better too. So when things hit you, because life be life, and that's the
Yeah.
thing everybody says now. It's just it kind of rolls off instead of just like knocking you all the way down, you know?
Yeah,
And people, I'm not happy all the time. Life is still happening for me. Things are still happening for me, but it's the mindset that I have. Oh God, this sucks. But okay, all right, okay, brush myself off, get up, get cute, and keep it moving.
exactly. I love that you're saying so many great points. I love that you just said about the empath. I love that you mentioned that you romanticize life. And, I definitely think I'm from that place as well too. And I feel
Yes, I love watching you. I love
like
it. You make fruit and vegetables just like I'm like, dang, I need to go get me some fruits and vegetables because you make it seem like so like, you know, this is such a beautiful thing because when we think of, we think of fruits and vegetables, like I don't want that. I want like the bad stuff. But when
yeah,
every time I
the
see your
fried
post, I'm like, dang
chicken.
it, I need to go get me some vegetables today because
Thank
you
you.
romanticize it, you know?
Yeah, I get excited about it. And, and even I feel like you said, even if it's going for a cup of like coffee, a latte or something like that, I feel like I'm making it an occasion. And I remember, even before I became into becoming unique space, I feel like I did that even when I posted about my kids all the time. And I
Me
remember
too.
people always say to me, "Oh my goodness, your Instagram, you're always doing so much." In my mind, I'm like, I'm not doing, I'm just in the playground. But
Just
I make it like
living
I make it like an
life.
experience. So
Yeah.
and I think we have to see it like that. I think a lot of times I'm like, I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff that's for free. And it's like I feel like the reaction sometimes, and I'm like, wow, like it's like you would think I'm in Paris somewhere, but I'm just doing all of the same, walking outside and doing all the same freeness that we all have access to. And just to, it's a perspective, just the way you see it in life.
Just the
Like,
way you
because
see it.
the way we see it, and it just getting back to, all of that, information within ourselves. Because again, if we don't understand and know who we are and just really embrace and hug ourselves on who we are, we're going to allow the outside to dictate to us.
And
And
you're not gonna live. Like we both understand that. Like life is our content, right? I
yeah,
don't have to think and screw
I like
people
that.
like I can't think of anything. I have such a hard time posting. And I'm like, well, I don't,
Yeah.
because I'm just posting life. I'm just posting what I do on a daily basis. And it works for me,
Mhm.
and I think that's part of being a creative and just I've been like this my whole life. Like I would stick stuff on the walls and so that's just part of who I am, so that part of me is easy. It may not be as easy for other people, but I'm like, just like find your thing, and
Yeah.
and do that, I
Yeah.
see all these
Do you.
recipes on Instagram and I'm like, oh my God, they make that look so delicious, right? But
Mhm.
then when I'm like, I don't want to go buy that stuff. I don't want to cook that stuff. I just want somebody to and
Mhm.
sit it in front of me, but somebody else, that's their gift, right? Being able to
Exactly.
go in the pantry and grab all these things and make this like I follow so many Instagrams where it's just food. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that. But
Yeah.
I mean, I probably could, but that's
That's
not my
their thing.
thing.
Yeah, that's their thing. That
That's
brings
it.
them
That's
their
not my
joy.
thing.
Yeah.
And I love watching them do it. It brings
Mhm.
me so much joy. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna go to the restaurant and get it because I don't want to do all that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's recognizing that, about yourself, like, oh, I love to admire and enjoy what someone else's gifts, but I
Right.
understand that's not my joy. Like,
It's not
I
my
don't feel like
gift.
making this mess. I don't feel like going through it.
I don't want to clean it up.
Yeah.
I just want to eat it.
And see, and this is another a great point of about just understanding yourself, because then we could put that pressure on ourselves, like, oh my God, they're doing so good, and I need to do this, and then forcing yourself to show up in a place that's just not
That's
true to
not
who
your
you are.
place.
It's not your place, but it's okay. We can admire someone else in their lane, like just as people
Yes.
admire sports figures and stuff. But we ain't over there trying to be, a Olympic athlete. We just admire it, and it's the same thing with
Right.
people on Instagram. We can admire them on Instagram, but we don't have to try to show up in their lane. That's their lane, and
That's
it's for
their
you to
lane.
find up your lane.
Unique.
So
I wish people really understood that. And that, people get so hung up on celebrities. I love celebrities. Don't get me wrong. But I don't follow a lot of celebrities. I
yeah,
don't because they're like we put them on this pedestal,
Hmm.
but at the end of the day, they're just human. But I
Yeah.
prefer to support my sister, like
Yeah.
support you, like show up for you. Like they have millions, they have all of those
Hmm.
things, but we'll support them, like them, saying stuff on their posts that they'll never see, because they
Yeah.
have millions of people saying things to them. They'll never see that. But you
Hmm.
won't even say congratulations to somebody that you're
Yeah.
looking at every day, or you'll bypass their post like it's nothing. And I'm like, that is crazy
Yeah.
to me.
Hmm.
That is
Yeah.
crazy to me. I still don't understand that concept.
Yeah.
Like
I
support
agree.
support your neighbor, support your friend, support the person that's doing the same thing as you. Uplift them,
Mm.
inspire them. And oh girl, I could go through things like being in this space, people like seeing what we do as a competitive thing instead of like supporting each other,
Yeah.
and uplifting each other. And I've learned, I just have to walk away from those people, because I'm not gonna be in competition with you. I'm not going to um not uplift you. I want the best for you, but yeah, I'm just need you to go over there though.
Yeah. We have to, just keep shining, the light and remember. And that's another thing about, being, understanding yourself, that we don't have to feed into anybody else's energy.
Right.
Sometimes they may like, we could be bothered by stuff, be like, you know what, that's them. And we send them love and light.
Love and light.
Send them love and light. Yes. Because sometimes people don't even know what they're doing. They don't even understand why they feel jealous or they feel like this, or
Yeah.
why they putting these people on this pedestal, and they can't even like you said, support their own kind or their own sister, like somebody that's in your same playing field, or now it's a competition. And but it's not, so we send everyone love and light. That's the same for 2024. Just constantly send love and light and be the light. Be
Yeah.
the light. I feel like this has been such a beautiful conversation and just awareness. And I think, I love to hear conversations like this because it just brings out awareness. Just like as I was listening to your live, and it just says like, oh yeah, yeah, the reminder coming back to yourself. Oh yeah, the reminder, like, put goals out there for yourself that you want to do within your birthday year. And I started thinking, I was like, I didn't make
Yes.
I was like, what, do I need to think? Because mine is 48. I guess I'm a year younger than you. I'm like, do I need to figure out 48 things? But, I may not do 48 things, but I think I may put a little more energy around like things I want to
Right.
accomplish for this year. So good. Like like you said, you may not be in the kitchen cooking like those people, but you may be admiring. I'm going to admire your 49 things, but I may just say, what goals or what energy do I want to put towards my
Yes.
48th year?
And that's the goal. If we're
Mm-hmm.
in this space, make it a positive space. Like you said, no, you don't have to do 48 things. But if you're like, it brings awareness, like, wow, you know what? I do need to be a little bit more intentional about the goals that I have and things that
Yeah.
I want to do. And that's why I do it. That's why I get on there. Cause it's like, if that's gonna spark awareness and
Mm-hmm.
attention,
Spark.
that's part of what we do, like, right? Is to
Yeah.
inspire, to uplift, to help motivate somebody else to
Yeah.
think about their life,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? Think about their life and what can I do to show up to be a better version of myself. And I think that makes me happy. That
Yeah.
makes me happy. And that makes me like, okay, that gives me the spark that I need to keep going. And then another thing that I'm very big on, the resolution thing, and this is just me, no shade. I don't create all of these unrealistic expectations and then I beat myself up if I don't reach them by the end of January. So I find a word,
Yeah.
I focus on a word and then I allow that word to kind of guide me through the year. And it's amazing. Everything you want, need, desire will attract to that word. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I've been doing it, I think, since 2019, and it never fails. Like I can see the word that I picked for 2024. Things are already happening to show me that, yes, girl, that's your word. That's your
Yeah.
word.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I was trying to think. I was like, I knew it was one more thing. Yes, it was the word because I think you said last year. Well, this year, 2023 was expand. I think
Hmm.
that was the word, right? I see. Okay. I was taking notes. I was taking notes.
Yes,
And that's the
expand, and it's been a very expansive year, like in
mhm.
so many ways, and so yeah, and so I can even share my 2024 if you want, like
Yes, let's share the
dun,
2024.
dun, dun, dun.
Da-da-da.
So 2024 is nurture.
Mm,
That's my word for 2024 because I
beautiful.
was quite busy in 2023. And I just want to do more nurturing in 2024, all these
Mhm,
things, that I got. And it's so much more than like things that people may see, but just nurturing just like my relationships, relationships with like clients that I have, nurturing the relationship with my grandson, being more intentional and more mindful, like just being more I don't know, just being more just open to everything,
mhm.
and just nurturing it, Nurture is to care for, right? To
Yeah.
to hold dear and near and care for those things. So yeah, it's a lot of things I want to do more of, like for myself, and just nurturing that, because we're getting on the other side of life, I feel like,
Mhm.
um where you just never know, right? And I want to roll out of this thing called life, like with no regrets.
Exactly. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I swear this has been such a beautiful, beautiful conversation. I'm so grateful that you ended off with your word of the year, nurture. And just as you inspired me, I hope I know you're gonna inspire many more people. Like but you us to sit back and say, what should be my theme of this year? It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm gonna do all of these all of these resolutions. It's like what's gonna be the energy for the year. So thank you, thank you. You are so amazing. But I gotta ask you one more question before we end today's show.
Okay.
And it is, what does becoming unique mean to you?
Becoming unique to me. Um, just striving to be the best version of yourself, right? I'm not who I was 10 years ago. I'm not who I was 5 years ago. Hey, I'm not who I was yesterday. So becoming unique is just standing firm and bold in who I am. I really, 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 really like the core of who I am. Some
Yeah.
days do I feel like, I'm showing up as the best version of myself? No. Some days I'm like, ugh, like I don't want to do anything. I don't, and that's okay,
It
right?
is.
It's okay to, some days I wake up and I'm like, ooh, I got this. I'm a slay today. And then some days I wake up, I'm like, I'm bloated. I want to get in the bed and sleep and eat all the wrong things, right? And some days I do, right? Life is about balance. Life is about balance. And I try my very best to show up as just like, this is me. I've even gone to yoga classes before and say, you know what, guys, I don't feel good today. I'm not
Mhm.
feeling my best today, but I'm here and we're going to get through this thing. And in that space, Mimi, I don't feel good either, girl. I woke up and it creates space for people to be human. If
Exactly.
you show up and like, oh, I didn't ate right, I didn't did this, I didn't did this, you make people feel like if they're not doing these things that they're less than,
Yeah.
and then you get in the car and you crying and want a hamburger instead of like the salad,
Yeah.
you have to be real. We got to be
Mhm.
real with people.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that connects me to my clients, my community, my kids. I show up and I'm just being myself. And it works. It works. People love to see real, and
Mhm.
it works. It works for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show up as
Being
myself,
human.
being
Yep.
human,
Being
and
human.
Instagram, and I have to tell people all the time, Instagram, Facebook, all the things, it's like 1% of what we really are. Even if
Exactly.
I don't even know if it's 1%,
Uh-huh.
but we
An
have to be
illusion.
mindful of, yeah, it's like point something. Like we have to remember that we're all human.
Yeah.
We're all just trying to just be the best that we can be. And I want to thrive. I don't want to just survive, right?
Yeah.
And so that's just what gets me, up and moving and shaking. And yeah, we got another day. We got another day to get it right.
Yay. Oh my God. I absolutely love everything you had to say. You are amazing.
Thank you. So are you. Thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun.